Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're right back where we were at the peak of the epidemic during the New York outbreak. The difference now is that we really had one epicenter of spread when New York was going through its hardship. Now we really have four major epicenters of spread. Los Angeles, cities in Texas, cities in Florida, and Arizona.
Oh, Dr. Gottlieb right there. We got four major areas of spread, kids. Four major areas of spread. Got the Florida area that's very spready right now. Texas, little spready going on there. California, spready. And, of course, Texas, Arizona, where I'm at, very spready. I wouldn't know. I was on vacation. I didn't leave the house. I like that, by the way, just to let you know. I like it. So we got four major areas. It is spreading. The numbers don't look good. Let's be real. But I've always said this, and we're going to talk about Dr. Atlas here in a little bit. But I've always said this. At the end of the day, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 100 million people can get it. What matters is the death count. Because at some point in time, I think, is the way that this thing's spreading, that a majority of people are probably going to, in depending on how long this thing goes on, because it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, are going to encounter this and may get this. Mild, some a little bit worse, some you'll never even know you had it. And then it's going to get some people in a really bad situation where they potentially face the loss of life. That's a very real possibility. But at the end of the day, if 100,000 people caught it and 50,000 people died, or 1 million people caught it, 500,000 people died, and you look around and you're like, okay, 20 million people caught it, but only 150 or 200,000 people died. At the end of the day, it's the death number that we should be looking, the mortality rate of this. Will it grow? Because it got to like 100, then 115 really kind of quick, a lot of people thought, and then all of a sudden it's kind of just meandering around here. But some people, like Dr. Scott Gottlieb, say hold your horses.
The case fatality rate is going down, although we're not able to measure it right now because we're able to save more people who are hospitalized and get critically ill because of advances in care. The number of deaths has gone down because the number of infections went down for a period of time, but the total number of deaths is going to start going up again.
I don't really know if I buy all that, and it's hard to buy a lot of everything, right? There's truth in a lot of it, and they're seeing it in different ways. Doctors don't all have the answers because they don't have all the data. That's the reality of this thing. But the coronavirus isn't going anywhere. A disruptor, to say the least. Is this going to last several more months? Absolutely. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Be prepared to be prepared. We're talking several months of mask wearing, several months of on, off, start, stop when it comes to the economy, and an absolute crushing of our economy over the next several months. That is the reality of what's going on. This is so much different than I think a lot of people even thought. I never once thought it was a hoax. People say, you thought it was a hoax. I never once thought it was a hoax. Do I think that it's overblown? Well, it's killed a lot of people. When you break it down, though, will this eventually be a situation where we look at it and we say it was probably a little bit more deadly than the flu? The difference between the flu and this, and I have to explain this to people, people don't get it. The difference between the flu and this. We have a vaccine for the flu, and we have treatments for the flu, which mitigate and almost eliminate much of what the flu does damage-wise. We don't have that with this. We don't. Numbers are going up, but with those numbers going up, what really matters is what, Dr. Scott Atlas?
It doesn't really matter how many cases. It only matters who gets the cases, because we know the infection fatality rate for people under 70 is 0.04% on the latest analysis. That's less than or equal to seasonal flu. The cases themselves should not be and were never the focus. It's only the tragic consequences of the cases. So when we look at these new cases in every state, the overwhelming majority are younger, healthier people.
That's it. People ask me, I was on vacation. Are you okay? I said, absolutely. I was on a mini vacation, relaxing, taking some time off. We didn't have a lot of time off. We started this year, and think about this for a second. Think about what we've been through already the first 6 months of the year. We lost Kobe Bryant. Won't even be a blip on the screen come the end of this year. We're in the midst of a political, insane re-election campaign that is getting a lot of back page news because we have the coronavirus that comes and goes in certain areas, stops in the economy, an absolute disaster for the global economy, not just us, because as we go, in many cases, the world goes. We've had Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, tearing down monuments. It has been a hell of a first 6 months, and we're now on the downside of 2020. And so far, July doesn't look any different than a lot of the other months. You killed Charlie Daniels. And COVID is resurging in many places. But he's right, Dr. Scott Atlas. What matters? Who's getting it? Younger people are out. They're enjoying themselves. They've thrown caution in the wind, as would many of you who are out there today bitching, whining, and moaning about wearing a mask. I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask either, but I do it because I care about other people. That's just it. Not like I go anywhere. I went 2 places. I had 6 days where I didn't do anything. I did a lot of stuff in the house. Did a lot of lizard stuff. We did a lot of stuff like that. Jack's here. He's leaving this weekend. And so I spent as much time with him as possible. We had a lot of fun. But the reality is I didn't go anywhere. But when I did, which was to get groceries, I wore a mask. Outside of that, I did a drive-through to get a drink. It was pretty much about it. I mean, it's that quiet. You've seen a lot of young kids out there having fun. Young adults. They feel invincible. We would have done the same. That's the reality of it.
I think in Florida, the median age is 36. In Texas, it's something similar, or maybe 40. And that's really what we're thinking about here, is that it only matters if we cannot protect the high-risk people, which we are protecting. We're protecting. How do I know? Because the death rates are not going up. It doesn't matter if you get the illness if you're going to fully recover and be fine from it. And that is what people must understand.
Dr. Scott Atlas. But nobody wants to talk about that because the media enjoys the doom and gloom and the fear factor. They love that. They love that. They profit in craziness now. And that's what you've got. That's the reality of it. Who gets it is more important than anything else. Younger, healthier people. And you will find some that show up in the hospitals. You will find some that end up dying. But every year there are young people, young children, all the way up to older Americans and everybody in between. They get the flu and die, and that's with a vaccine and treatment. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Hope you are doing well. Oh, God, it was so nice. I tried to avoid as much crap as I possibly could, and I think it did a good job, right? I think I did. But, you know, was it the best job? No, because I did some other stuff. I looked around. I wanted to make sure I was up on things. But it's hard not to look around and see what's going on. And it's funny because when you're taking that outsider's view, which is what I did over the weekend and these past several days off, it's interesting to watch the crazy chaos unfold. Because if you were an alien and you landed here, right, you studied us, but you didn't really understand what was going on, and you landed here, right now you would think the world is not only on fire, that the best thing that the aliens could do is just firebomb this planet and come back in 100 million years and find out what's left, because we're at each other's throats. And that's not the reality of it. But it just feels that way because the only thing that gets any kind of press or publicity is chaos and craziness. And we've got more of it. We've got a book that's going to come out about the Donald and the family, not just the Donald, from his niece. And they're trying to figure out, how do they stop this damn thing?
The statement from a White House spokesperson accuses Mary Trump of writing the book for financial gain. Regarding the specifics of what she wrote, the statement says, quote, "The president describes the relationship he had with his father as warm and said his father was very good to him. He said his father was loving and not at all hard on him as a child."
In this book, apparently, she points out Fred Trump was awful to the kids, loved Trump the most, the Trump, but hammered everybody. Yeah, absolutely, I believe that. Why wouldn't you? Of course. Roy Cohn, who was a huge influence in Trump life, very much that. And it's what we've talked about for years here on the Chad Benson Show. First of all, we've always said that Trump will never apologize for anything because that's not in his DNA. It's not who he is. His family was probably not very warm. They were not a loving kind of family. They were competitive and brutal, and the whole talk about cheating, he cheats at everything. I've said this for a very long time. Trump believes that everybody's cheating. He's not doing anything wrong. Trump believes the world is professional bicycle racing, which is everybody's doing it, and to compete, you've got to do it and figure out a way to make it look like you're not cheating. Do I believe a lot of this? This book will probably be a little bit truer than everything else. Now, is everything true? Did she spice some stuff up? Were there things that she missed? Were there good things she missed? Oh, absolutely. Because you're selling salaciousness. But it'll be an interesting read for sure. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Hope you had a good few days off. 4th of July, and then I took a couple other days off, which was glorious. It was nice. Very hot here. Very hot. I went outside yesterday, much to my stupidness. And I thought, well, you know what? I haven't played soccer in a couple days. I'm going to go for a run. It's 11 o'clock. 11:15. I was in the house by about 11:50. It was like 111 degrees. I don't know what I was thinking. I have no idea. I went, took a shower, took a nap. Where did I take a nap? My brand new purple mattress, which showed up the day before. And it was the most amazing thing. My son flipped out. So Jack freaks out, right? Think about this. Technology, what's it done? It's improved everything. Why not sleep? And here, there's a lot of other things out there. This is good or that is good. This is otherworldly. It's got a purple grid. So we get it out of this big thing, and it comes with its own little cutting thing because it's all wrapped up. And we cut it, and pops open, and in 2 seconds, it's ready to go. And I'm talking about incredible. You're not going to sleep hot. You're not going to sleep cold. 2,800 open air channels, naturally temperature neutral gel. It's absolutely incredible. My nap was so delicious. If I could patent the nap because of the purple, I'd sell it all day and I'd get anything I want for it. Purple is so confident in what they do that every Purple mattress comes with free shipping, returns, and a risk-free 100-night trial. Try it for yourself. Experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use the promo code Benson. For a limited time, $150 off any Purple mattress order over $1,500. That's Purple mattress. You're going to love it. Purple.com/Benson. Use the promo code Benson. Save $150. Purple.com/Benson. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
It was just over 2 weeks ago. Chief Justice Roberts had to be taken away by ambulance and stayed overnight in the hospital. He suffered a head injury that required stitches. No explanation why the incident wasn't revealed publicly when it happened. The secret kept confidential until someone tipped off a reporter. Roberts has suffered 2 seizures in the past, but the High Court says his doctors ruled that out as a cause. They believe he was dehydrated.
Oh, my God. This is why he's ruling in ways that Trump doesn't like. Obviously. Goodness me. So funny. Producer Anthony sends me this, and he's just like, QAnon's going to go crazy and all this stuff. I'm like, absolutely. 4chan, 8chan, 12chan, 16chan, 4head. All of them are going to be mad at this. Total deep state. I can't believe deep state. This is the most crazy thing. No, he's probably, let's not, I mean, he's not young. He's not old, but he's not, you know, I mean, we sometimes things happen. What is he? He's 65. He ain't old, but he ain't 25. So maybe he had some issues. It's just funny, though, to watch people freak out about it. The other side of freak out about it is TikTok. So Jack loves TikTok. All the young kids, all the kids love TikTok. It's what they do. They enjoy TikTok. My name for TikTok is something different that I cannot use on said radio program because, well, it is basically, you go there and you find some neat stuff. People don't think about it, especially the young. We've decided to opt into everything. And I told Jack, don't download TikTok. Dad, everybody's doing this. Don't download TikTok. This is the Chinese are coming, and they're going to, Dad, that's, you have to explain to him. He's 10. He doesn't get it, nor do I expect him to get it. But the thought process is sooner rather than later, TikTok's going to have issues. Bye-bye, India. That's a lot of people. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Indians and the Chinese don't often get along. But I think it's going to be gone sooner rather than later here. It'll probably come back because Biden, if he wins, will hand everything over. He's good with that. I'm not good with that. But he is. But there's a reason. They're collecting every ounce of data.
On Capitol Hill, you have bipartisan support calling for an investigation of TikTok, saying that they're worried that they could be something that could be used by the Chinese government in the same way that the Russians in 2016 tried to influence the U.S. presidential election.
Yeah. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. Are they gathering? They're gathering data. Of course they're gathering. And I was talking to my uncle last night, big YouTuber and all this kind of stuff. And we were chatting. He says, all of the people that are on TikTok that are older and understand, they're all heading to YouTube as fast as they can. Because the realization is they think this thing's on borrowed time. Because a lot of governments across the globe are going to start cracking down. Because we decided to depend on China so much for everything that we have now invited them into everything, whether it's our phones or whatever piece of electronics or any of that stuff. And that's a real issue that we're going to have to rectify. Not just us, but globally, we're going to have to rectify. This is part of the issue with cheap consumer goods. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You laughed at me, many of you, 3 weeks ago. You ain't laughing anymore. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
There's no other infectious disease that goes from 40% of the people having no symptoms to some having mild symptoms, to some having severe, some requiring staying at home for weeks, some going to the hospital, some getting intensive care, some getting intubated, some getting ventilated, and some dying. So that depending on where you are in that spectrum, you have a different attitude to this particular thing.
Yeah. That's like everything, isn't it? I mean, that's life. You get attacked by a bear, you might have a different attitude towards the bear. You're like, I don't really like bears. Why? Well, my family got eaten by bears. Well, you probably have a different attitude towards that. That's called experience. This thing isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The one good news is, as we talked about, Dr. Scott Atlas.
It doesn't really matter how many cases. It only matters who gets the cases. Because we know the infection fatality rate for people under 70 is 0.04% on the latest analysis. That's less than or equal to seasonal flu. The cases themselves should not be, and were never the focus. It's only the tragic consequences of the cases. So when we look at these new cases in every state, the overwhelming majority are younger, healthier people.
Yeah, and I think that's very real. At the end of the day, all that matters is the deaths. Sounds horrible. Chad, no, that's what matters. That's sad but true, the kind of scoreboard thing that you could have 50 million cases, but if only 100 or 200,000 people die, and we're at 3 million cases and about 130 plus thousand, give or take, that have passed away. How many real cases? I couldn't tell you. They say CDC said you can probably multiply that by 10. If we were to do that, if we were to multiply that by 10 and go by what they're saying, the CDC, not Chad Benson, the CDC, if you believe them, this is about as dangerous as the seasonal flu. But Chad, it's killed so many. It's killed so many because we have no therapeutics for it. Right? We don't have any therapeutics at all for this. We don't have a vaccine for it yet. And that vaccine may be further and further away as they battle for it to figure out who's going to get the opportunity to have a vaccine. We may have 1 or 2 vaccines. How well does it work? How long is it going to take to get out there in mass quantities? We could find, hey, we've got a vaccine. We think it's perfect. But over the next several weeks and months, we're going to have to watch and see what happens to the people who've taken the vaccine. And if over those several months, everything's good, then you have to go into mass production of it. That is going to take time. So we're looking out probably the middle of next year before it's in everybody's hands for them to take. And by then, we'll have a real good idea. Is it a 1 shot, you're done? Is it 2 shots and you're done? What are the side effects? If any? How effective is it really? So we'll have a real good idea of what that looks like. But that's going to take time. Therapeutics, that's the best thing that we can hope for at this moment in time. That's going to be the bigger game changer. So if I told you you're going to get COVID and you're going to survive it right now, but there's nothing, because everybody thinks it's a death sentence, and it's not. But if I told you were going to get COVID and there's a therapeutic and it was going to mitigate it, instead of being out 2 weeks, you're probably going to have to take this for 3 or 4 days, and it's going to run its course, and you're going to be fine, and you won't have any real issues. You'd feel better, move on with your life, make things a little bit easier, much like the flu. The end of the day, who gets it? The vulnerable, the elderly, people who have not only underlying health conditions, but there's also a lot of assisted living facilities with younger people who've had strokes, who've had car accidents, something of that nature, who need to be protected. I've yet to listen to any governor come out with a concrete plan. My Governor Ducey, useless. Governor Gavin Newsom, useless. We know about Cuomo and what he did to the nursing facilities for elderly care. Yeah, let's put him back in there. It'll be fine. Abbott, DeSantis, come on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. I joked a couple weeks ago. So they're going to get rid of stuff. They're not going to get rid of stuff. They are. I said they're going to come for Mount Rushmore. They're going to come for Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore, let's be real, it's going to be sandblasted. It is. At some point in time, it's going to be gone. They're coming hardcore. Cancel culture is as real as it's ever been. It's as big as it's ever been. And it's picking up steam. And every time you see something crazy happen, this is one of those things where I look around and go, this is why Trump. You cancel everything. This is why Trump. I said they're going to come for everybody. Coming for Lincoln. They're coming for George.
I didn't know I'd have to defend Ulysses S. Grant. I didn't know I'd have to tell you the history of the Lincoln statue. I didn't think I'd have to tell you that George Washington was indispensable to our future. I didn't think I'd have to find out why he shouldn't have his hands sprayed red in Washington Park in New York City. But now I'm scrambling to tell people in the past what really happened and why this doesn't belong in the news. It should be accepted as history. We should be proud of who he was.
Look, is he perfect? Nobody's perfect. Did he do things that we look into and think, wow, in our woke way? Because we believe that magically, if we were born at that time, that we would be as woke today as we are today. And that's a bunch of crap. Why is that? Because you're born into a world that is completely different. You're not born woke or racist. You're not. He was born to a much different time. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses S. Grant. You name it. If it's a statue somewhere and it's bronze and it could or couldn't be somebody, we don't know. At this point, we don't even care. Just tear it down.
We should be proud of the only black person left in American history early on of our founding fathers would really be John Adams and Alexander Hamilton. And they were in the North. And the ones in the South were born into a system that depended on slavery. Not good, but when they looked around and when they were born, that's what they had. But that doesn't mean you tear apart America. It's part of our story.
People don't like that story. The story's bad. A younger generation is about erasing and rewriting. A younger generation is about being woke. That's what matters. That's exactly what matters. It's about being woke. It's about recognizing that everything that predates them is evil and bad. Mom and dad, you're part of the problem. Grandma and grandpa, you're part of the problem. I know you fought the Nazis, but you pretty much are a Nazi. Everybody that predates them and their thinking is not only bad, doesn't even deserve to have a voice in anything at all. That's not good for a country.
President Trump should use this opportunity not to preach, but to tell. Engage the story of America and let America decide. Do we want to be embarrassed about our past or do we want to embrace our past? And what kind of country do we want to be? One that celebrates the destruction of our private property and our statues and our saints? Or do you want to be a country that looks back and say, he or she wasn't perfect, but man, they were impressive?
It was the time they lived in. I don't know what people expect. They want perfection. They want all these things. Well, these people are bad. Everybody's bad. Everybody. And anything that predates me is bad. It's a bunch of crap. It's absolutely a bunch of crap. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. But we've now allowed petulant children who've been raised by people who've allowed them to get away with everything, told them that their worth is everything because they believe it to be so, and that anything or anything that ever challenges their belief is wrong, then sent them to school to major in I Hate America by professors who hate America but enjoy everything that America has provided them and wants to rewrite America, and that is insane. That is absolutely insane. And this is where we are. I joked about it. Everybody laughed. I said, it's going to go. So they're coming for everything. You name it, they're coming for it. You name it, they're coming for it. There's a book out called White Fragility. Oh, my Lord. You guys want to laugh about something. This is a book of Matt Taibbi destroyed it. It's by Robin DiAngelo. And it's basically, she had an issue. And because she had an issue, everybody's that way. Wait, what? Yeah, she went to a park and they were breaking up into groups. There was a black group and a white group, and she didn't want to be in the black group because she didn't know. It's one of those things where those protest too much. It's the way I've always. So you've got an issue, you feel guilty, so everybody else must be that way. And that's a lot of what you get. A lot of these people I see out there screaming and yelling, I'm like, what do you really feel? Because I feel like you're overly trying to make up something. It's like those politicians, those super preachers that are, gay people are bad. Oh, they're bad. And they all go out there and say that, and the next thing you know, right, they're inside of a bathroom at some park having to explain to their congregation or their constituents that they'd made a gravest mistake. Don't protest too much indeed. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from you. All of you kids. Oh, indeed. So, what is it? It's Raycon. What are best earbuds around? Love them, love them. Had to get all the kids a pair of Raycons because they love their earbuds, and I'm sick of them taking mine. They're incredible. The E25 earbuds, best ones yet. 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing. Noise isolating fit. Stylish, absolutely. Comfortable, the most comfortable you're ever going to find. Price-wise, you'd probably pay $150, $200 for one of those ones that comes with the stems or the little, this is the coolest one yet. No, you're going to pay well under $100, and I'm going to save you more money on the top of that. The noise isolating fit, because right now we're at home. Binge watching, podcasting, video conference calls. What do you want? You want to make sure that you hear everything. That's what you're going to get with these. Now, well under $100, save 15%. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. It's 15% off. The best wireless earbuds around. No stems, no wires. You will love these. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
My name's Danny Trejo. You might have seen me once in a while.
And now the quintessential tough guy from films like Con Air, Desperado, and Machete is the subject of the new documentary Inmate Number 1, The Rise of Danny Trejo, telling his story from drug-addicted gang member to prison inmate to movie star. But Trejo says the documentary's not about ego.
What I wanted to do was just give people hope that are in a hopeless situation. And prison is a hopeless situation.
Inmate Number 1, The Rise of Danny Trejo, is streaming everywhere now.
Yeah, interesting. Talk about a guy who, he did time, he did real time. San Quentin, in and out of jail between 59 and he's 75 years old. So that's insane. He's only 5'6", dude. I've met Danny a couple times. Huge hands, only 5'6". Battled with alcoholism, drug addiction, and it was because of AA and the 12-step program that he even got his chance to go into acting. The guy who wrote the movie Runaway Train was also in prison and had alcohol and drug addiction problems, and he invited him to the set because they were sponsoring, he was a sponsor in the whole 9 yards, and he was watching what was going on. It was this movie, there was a situation where they needed somebody to be a boxer, and the guy just didn't fit the bill, and Trejo's like, it's not how you do it. You do this, you do that. Next thing you know, they're like, dude, why don't we just get this guy to do it? And boom, got $320 a day, says, I could do all this stuff. Now he's everywhere. He's been sober for 40 plus years, but it's crazy. See where somebody came from. You think about this. This guy's running around in Pacoima, California, right? Hustling, selling drugs, buying drugs, doing drugs, running with gangs, gets put in prison. And to think, hey, you know what, man? You're in prison. You're doing all this stuff. You're in San Quentin. You're doing a real long stretch. By the way, you're going to be world famous. And it's going to have nothing to do with anything bad and all to do with what you did with your life outside of here. I don't think Danny Trejo, growing up as a kid, he thought, I'm going to be a great actor. Probably didn't think any of that stuff. You know what he thought about? Just getting through the day. Partying, getting through the day. It's interesting. Documentary's interesting. Just an interesting character. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. The resurgence is here for the COVID. Now the question is, what do parents do in the fall? Everybody's trying to figure out what are they going to do, because parents are, they're looking around. Okay, we've already gone through this song and dance with kids. We've already been through this. Can't keep it home, can you?
You try to open up schools right now in Arizona or Florida or Texas, you couldn't keep them open because there'd be too many people who would get sick, teachers would get sick, staff would get sick, and you'd have to shut down. Yeah, probably. Now, the kids, the chances of them getting sick and dying from this are very, very minuscule. The flu is far worse for children than this. But the reality is this is real, and it's about the spread of this thing, although how much do they spread? That's been debated in 1,000 different studies since the coronavirus has come out. And look, I couldn't tell you. But what I do know is some of the things they're talking about, this is some of the stuff. So they've closed my little brother Spencer's school. Now, Spencer, who's my little brother's handicap,
He didn't have to worry. He can't, traditionally, there's no way he's going to catch this thing because he has trach, doesn't come through his nose cavities. He doesn't touch his eyes. He can't do it. So they're not worried about him. But for the other kids and the special needs, okay, that's fine. They've shut that down. Well, luckily, my mother has, my aunt takes care of him full time. But they're telling that my little brothers now, you guys are going to go to school for 1 day a week. 1 day a week? Yeah, it's going to be all the social distancing, all this. 1 day a week. What about the parents who can't afford any of that, who are essential? How does that work? What do you do at that point in time? Or the split shifts. From 7 till noon, it's this, and then from noon to 5, it's going to be. I mean, this is chaos and craziness. These are the little things that snowball when it comes to the coronavirus and how we're going to head into this next several weeks and months that we thought, well, we'd be over this by now. Well, we're not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, your Instagram. You can tweet at me. Chad Benson Show TV, YouTube. Go there, check it out. Like it, subscribe. Love hearing from you. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Why are you angry if I wear a mask? Because you're wearing a mask out of stupidity and you're further pushing the agenda. And the agenda is the deep state, which wants to control all of us and have us living in fear and thinking that you're contaminated. It is false narrative. And when you wear a mask, which you can certainly do, you are further pushing the agenda that is condemning all of us and keeps us living in a state of terror.
I have no idea. First of all, there was like 4 accents there because I felt like somebody started out with the Kevin Costner School of Acting, which is you start out as a British guy, right, as an English guy in Robin Hood, and by the 3rd act, you sound like you're from Iowa. Hey, what happened to Robin Hood? He's from Iowa. Like Christian Slater in that movie, didn't even try. Hey, it's me, Christian Slater. That's all he did. I'm Robin Hood's brother because he's a jerk. It's like, that wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. You started out in the deep state agenda, and it's not very nice. Wear a mask. I have no problem with wearing a mask. I went to like 2 places in my 6 days off. 2 places. 2 places. I wore a mask both places. Out of respect. I'm fortunate. I live in a county called Pinal County, where Sheriff Mark Lamb, you see him on Live PD, old school sheriff. It doesn't crack down, so he's not going to enforce any of this crap. But I wore a mask. And by the way, he caught COVID. I wore a mask. I respect it. If I can stop one person from getting it, great. And remember, it's not so much about you not getting it, is it stopping somebody else if you have it from getting it? I think it's a deep state. I don't think any of that crap. It's the problem with everybody is everybody thinks that everybody else is out to get them. That's why we're in the situation we're in of chaos and lunacy. We've turned a virus into a damn political showdown. It's a virus. It's a virus. It's what it is. It's a virus. Wash your hands a little bit longer. Don't touch your eyes. Give people space. Wear a mask. Move on with your life. I've always said, if they tell me I got to wear a mask in my own car, in my house, in my backyard, you get where I'm going, then we're going to have real issues. If I'm on a walk with my family, and I've got a mask on, I don't have a mask on, and somebody says, hey, you need to wear a mask, or else we're going to arrest you or fine you, then we've got an issue. Little things like that are not the deep state taking us over, but like, hey, Costco wants you to wear a mask. It's the deep state. Numbers are rising. That's the reality of it.
So if you say it doesn't matter whether you put it on or take it off, you're giving a wrong mixed signal. The signal should be wear a mask, period.
Yeah. There you go. You don't have to wear it 24/7. Just where applicable, right? What's that mean, Chad? You're going somewhere. Store. Wear a mask. It's not going to be forever. Could be forever. It's not going to be forever. You wear a mask. Once we find a vaccine and a therapeutic, you don't have to worry. We've turned this into a battle. It was fight over a mask. I'm going to fight over a mask. It is what it is at this moment in time. It's not a hoax. It's not BS. It's not baloney. This is very real. Let's deal with it. The only good news that's coming out about this is that the mortality rate is dropping. Why is that? Has a lot to do with who's catching it compared to who caught it at first.
It doesn't really matter how many cases. It only matters who gets the cases, because we know the infection fatality rate for people under 70 is 0.04% on the latest analysis. That's less than or equal to seasonal flu. The cases themselves should not be, and were never the focus. It's only the tragic consequences of the cases. So when we look at these new cases in every state, the overwhelming majority are younger, healthier people.
Yeah. You got 20-somethings out there enjoying themselves, partying, thinking they're invincible, as we all did as kids, running around, think, woo, they get it. Not really worried about them. Well, they're clogging up the hospitals. Some of the hospitals are having issues. It doesn't mean that young people can't die from this, because as we all know, that's possible. Young people die from the flu. We never talk about that. And we have a vaccine, and we have therapeutics. Young people still die from the flu. Just be smart. It's amazing. The wacky, crazy world that we're living in has very little to do with data, facts. It has all to do with emotions. And I've learned throughout my life by making stupid mistakes based on emotions that doesn't work well. Everybody has. But that's what we've got now. We've got a country that is just butt tight right now, living on pins and needles, looking around, freaking out over everything. All the emotions. Step back, breathe, look around, use some common sense. Guess what? You'll find out if you do a little bit of that, it goes a long way. Little bit of common sense goes much further than people realize. It's that simple. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program. So this is interesting. Producer Phil told me about it earlier. I'm like, what? So San Francisco supervisor, anytime you hear that right there, you can know whatever's coming behind it is insane. Whatever is going to be coming behind this will be insane. Not to disappoint, this one is. San Francisco supervisor Shamann Walton has introduced an ordinance that would punish racially motivated 911 calls. It's named the Karen Act, which is Caution Against Racially Exploitative Non-Emergencies. Talk about having to reach. Okay, I got a great idea. This follows the Oakland Assembly member Rob Bonton's statewide Assembly Bill 1550 that outlaws discriminatory emergency calls based on outward biases. How would you even, how does that even work? I mean, how does, I don't even get how that works. So what happens if you call and there's a person of color? There's an LGBT, I mean, is this, well, you can't. So if somebody commits a crime against you or does something towards you, unless they're the same color, you've just got to let it go, because otherwise you could be in trouble too. Is that what we're getting to? That is the insanity of which we're living in. There's a movie a couple weeks ago I saw. It was on Netflix. It was supposed to come out in the theaters, but as we all know, we no longer go to movies. And it was really interesting. It starred it's so funny, and it stars the guy from Stuber, or is it Kamal Najani? And there's a part in the movie where he and his girlfriend, who happens to be black, so he's of Indian descent or Pakistani descent, she's black. These two white people, hipsters, see a murder or see a dead body, and they have assumed that these two have committed it. And so when they make the 911 call, the 911 operator says, describe them. And they hesitate. They say, well, one is black and the other one is of, Indian or Pakistan. You're just like, we're not just saying that because we're racist, but they had to preface the whole thing. Is that where we're headed? I think so. I think it's where we're headed. We're headed to the world of insanity. I was listening to James Lindsay, who is, if you guys don't know, he's very interesting. He was on a podcast the other day with, we've had him on the show a few times, and he was on the podcast the other day with Rogan. But he and I think the other, Eric Weinstein and a couple others, they did all those fake papers where like they changed the word of Mein Kampf, the words, and they added stuff and they submitted it and they got recognized and peer to peer, they reviewed and they were published and everybody found out it was baloney because they were just trying to prove a point about the insanity of what goes on in higher education and learning and all of this, attaboys from all these people. And he said what I've been saying for a long time, which is eventually they're going to eat their own, but it's going to take a while. This craziness and lunacy is going to eventually eat its own. But that isn't going to happen anytime soon. So until that happens, this is where common sense comes in even more. Just realize that the people that are coming and want to cancel everything, and who not only want to cancel, want to punish along with canceling, will eventually have to answer to themselves and to their own group, to the point where they're going to all cancel each other, and then we're going to have nothing. We'll have to start all over again. And that's the pushback that will come. And every time they do something insane, every time there's something like this, you look around and you say, this is why Trump. This is why Trump. When you start tearing down everything that America was, when you start singing songs about how much you hate America, when you start doing those things to the point where it is absolutely ridiculous. You enjoy all that America gives you, but you hate everything about it. And you hate everything that predates you. That's when I say over and over again, this is why Trump. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program as well. Slept so amazing. So Purple Mattress sent me a mattress. Said, try this out. I said, all right. Said, I love my naps. And I do love my naps. So yesterday, worked out so hard. So the day before, we got the mattress. Or 2 days before. So Jack and I, we got it. It was just amazing. Just comes in this big, giant, huge, purple, massive things like 8 feet tall. Right? And we pull it out, and they got a special cutter because it's all wrapped up. And we cut it, and it rolls out. Boom, ready to go. And you just, first time you sit on it, put your hands, you're like, this is different. 2,800 open air channels. What's that mean? Some of you sleep hot, some of you sleep cold. You don't have to ever worry because you're never going to sleep too hot or too cold. Here's the other thing. When I'm talking about my naps are vitally important to me because I work so much, naps are the places where I try to catch up, at least for myself, a little bit of sleep, even though you can't do that. I slept so amazing. You can toss and turn. It doesn't even feel like you're turning to one side or the other. It's just the most incredible thing ever. Purple Mattress has done something here that is incredible. Just like cars and phones and everything else has improved because of technology, same thing goes here with sleep. Purple Mattress, you win, period, case closed. How sure are they? You get a 100-day risk-free trial. Comes with free shipping and free returns. Experience the evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use the promo code Benson. Save $150 of any Purple mattress order of $1,500 or more. It's purple.com. Purple.com/Benson. Promo code Benson. Save $150. Purple.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look what's trending. A lot of stuff trending. Number one trending thing right now. You'll enjoy this, producer Phil. Usain Bolt, fastest man alive. I don't know if he's still the fastest man alive doing it. Not really doing it anymore. 33-year-old Jamaican athlete. Celebrated the birth of his child. His girlfriend, Cassie Bennett. They've started a new chapter together. Now, if you want to know what Usain Bolt, again, fastest man alive, would name his daughter, and you think, man, those people in Hollywood name their kids weird. This is interesting. Her name is Olympia Lightning Bolt. I like Olympia. It's kind of interesting. Lightning Bolt. Hey, you got it. Rock it. Rock it. Olympia Lightning Bolt. Number one thing trending right now. Mary Kay Letourneau passed away. Still trending. She died at 58 of cancer. If you guys don't know her, she was a huge part of crazy chaos and lunacy in the 90s. She was a teacher who had sex with her 13-year-old student, who she married later on. They have children together. Vili Fualaau was her former student and husband, was there. They had 2 children together before he was 15. She passed away, 58. Deshaun Jackson. Here's something, right? You didn't hear much. This was trending all day on Twitter yesterday and more today about his anti-Semitic post that he did. And it's just, it's one of those things where you look around and you say, okay, so hold on a second. Is he going to get punished? Right? Where are all the people that attack the likes of Drew Brees and everybody else for some of the things that they said or did that didn't meet the standard of what other people out there in the politically correct world wanted? Where are you now? This is part of what he said. Hitler's, I mean, this is like, you're sitting there going, you really did this. Hitler said, because the white Jews know that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating against and lynching children of Israel. And you're like, wow. What will happen? Probably nothing. Not at this point in time. Should something happen? You tell me. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me. Text the program as well. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Supreme Court has just ruled that the Trump administration can put limits on birth control coverage provided under Obamacare. In a 7-2 opinion, upholding the Trump administration's rule exempting employers with moral or religious obligations from having to provide women with contraceptive service coverage in their health plans. The case centered on a challenge from the group Little Sisters of the Poor in Pennsylvania. It had challenged that requirement for birth control, citing religious objections. Again, the U.S. Supreme Court just ruling that the Trump administration can put limits on birth control coverage provided under Obamacare.
So that's a win for Trump. Will tomorrow be a loss? Tomorrow's the big day, tax day. Not for you and I. That's the 15th. Remember that. They moved it back. They bumped it to July 15th. But for whether or not his financial records can be released. So it's a big, big deal tomorrow. Today, little win for Trump, but it was 7-2. It wasn't 5-4. It was 7-2. That means, yeah, 2 liberal justices are on the sides of, quote unquote, the conservative justices. And of course, John Roberts, Chief Justice, who fell down, hit his head, apparently. That's what I heard. Now he's deep stating it. So that's very interesting. So a win for Trump. It's been a mixed bag. What will this look like, though, tomorrow? Because tomorrow, if they rule, here's a question. So let's say tomorrow they rule for that Trump, you got to go get all of his financials. You got to have it out there. He's going to have to do it. What does that mean? Every single president has to release. Remember, there's no law saying they have to do that. Am I correct in that, Phil? Last time I checked, producer Phil, there's no law forcing presidents to release. There's just there is no law. So will this be a law? It's not. It's a lawsuit. Second thing. What if there is something? Oh, God, I never thought of that. Well, here's the beauty of how fractured we are in this country. Whether there is something or there isn't something no longer matters. Because depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you'll believe already that there is or isn't something. That's just the reality. So if you believe that Trump is been held hostage by the likes of Saudi Arabia and Putin in particular, then guess what? No matter what comes out of his financials, if they were to be released, you already believe it. If you don't believe it, think it's a big nothing burger, as Miss Clinton would once say, then guess what? Doesn't matter what's in there. Matters very little. Because you already made up your mind. That's where we are. We have no room anymore for nuance, facts, data, because you're now defining the news in such a way that it fits all the narrative that's in your dome. Just this is what fits it. This is what I believe. I cannot be challenged. I can't even challenge myself. And I don't want to be challenged. And anybody who challenges anything, I will shoot it down immediately. So it really doesn't matter at all what it said in there. Because you believe that he already is part of a machine that's being controlled by the Kremlin and Putin and others, or that it's all a bunch of hogwash and baloney. So it really doesn't matter. And then there's the 8 or 10 independent people who are looking and go, oh, if it's going to happen, let's take a look at it. And go from there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We're in a very bad situation right now with coronavirus. I think you know that.
We're right back where we were at the peak of the epidemic during the New York outbreak. The difference now is that we really had one epicenter of spread when New York was going through its hardship. Now we really have 4 major epicenters of spread. Los Angeles, cities in Texas, cities in Florida, and Arizona.
Yeah. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's not pretty. Now, some people think the numbers that you're seeing right now, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, even though the numbers are going up, the numbers, death toll, mortality rate, which at the end of the day is the thing that matters. If you had 50 million people that got it, but nobody died from it, you're like, well, that's kind of a win. It sucked that people got it, and some people were distressed and struggled. But it's better than 500,000 people getting it and 100,000 dying, or one dying. At the end of the day, because we were told originally it's going to kill 2 to 3 million people. Right? Then it was like, it's not. It's going to kill 200,000, 500,000, a million. I'm not quite sure. It depends. If things goes on forever, it's going to kill millions. If we don't find a therapeutic and a vaccine. But if we didn't have a therapeutic or a vaccine, I could argue that the flu is more deadly than this. So right now, and Trump and everybody in the White House is touting the fact, look, the mortality rate is going down. And there's a reason for that. And we'll get to that in a second. Some people think, no, hold on, just get ready.
The case fatality rate is going down, although we're not able to measure it right now because we're able to save more people who are hospitalized and get critically ill because of advances in care. The number of deaths has gone down because the number of infections went down for a period of time, but the total number of deaths is going to start going up again.
Yeah, it's going to start to rise again. Is that a potential? Of course it's a potential, for God's sakes. But you've got to admit, even though the numbers are going up, the mortality rate isn't crazy. Well, Chad, I mean, we're sitting at, like 5%? It's not really where we are. We don't even know how many people have actually gotten this. According to the CDC, their words, not mine, last week or the week before, they said it could be upwards of 20 to 30 million people. If you put it in that range where we're missing, basically, for every one that tests positive, we're missing 7 to 10 people out there who aren't getting tested, then that mortality rate drops exponentially. And that's huge. That's massive.
It doesn't really matter how many cases. It only matters who gets the cases, because we know the infection fatality rate for people under 70 is 0.04% on the latest analysis. That's less than or equal to seasonal flu. The cases themselves should not be, and were never the focus. It's only the tragic consequences of the cases. So when we look at these new cases in every state, the overwhelming majority are younger, healthier people.
And because younger, healthier people are more active. It's summertime. For a lot of people, they've been indoors most of the last several months, some of it because of winter when it first started. Then you've got this. And now that summer's here, they're at the point where they think, well, we're going to go out and live our lives. Once you gave us the okay to kind of return, we thought that meant you could return to everything as normal. And when you're 21, 22, 30, whatever it is, you feel like you're still invincible. You feel like I could take on anything. I don't need anything. I don't need to get shot for anything. I'm totally fine. And you feel that way. So who's getting it? The beginning of this, the people that got it and it spread, nursing homes, people that had real issues, physically, comorbidities, the people are getting it out much younger. So while the cases are rising, some people are saying, like Dr. Scott Atlas there, hey, hold on. Yeah, the cases are going up, but the people who get it matter the most. And I agree with that. Grandma, 78, high blood pressure, diabetes, a weakened immune system through age, far worse than a 21-year-old who's out partying with their friends. I'm going to the river, going to hang out, we're going to tube, we're going to party, we're going to drive our boats, whoa, whoa. Which one is more likely to get sick and die? So it's about who is getting it. And I have not seen a governor come out and lay out a concrete plan. I'll give it to you for free, Governor. Governor! I'll give it to you for free. Nursing homes, people who have compromised immune systems. We're going to surround you with a wall of people that are going to take care of you. We're going to compensate them because the way that we're going to do it is we're going to isolate them just as you're being isolated. We're going to isolate them. So if they were, let's just say, look, we're going to go back to a shelter in place, but only for a certain group of people. This is what it's going to look like. And the people that are going to help you. Now, maybe you want a nurse. You're in a nursing home. Maybe you want one of your family members there. We're going to compensate them to make sure. But we're not going to let them leave. It'll be a 30-day. Then you get time off. We protect the vulnerable. But everybody else, do the best you can to social distance. Don't be an idiot. And understand that there's some risk. It's in everything. I've not seen anybody come out. What they're trying to do is they're trying to piecemeal stuff together while trying to keep some stuff open, and they have to close down some stuff and move backwards, but then they want to move sideways. It's not working because there's no cohesive plan anywhere at all. So this is what we've got. It's not going anywhere. And what it's doing to the economy is crushing it. Crushing it. And I feel like this is going to be taking place much longer. And even when we get it to the point where it's semi under control, if you will, you're going to have the psychological aspect for a lot of people out there that are going to be afraid to go out because they're worried about it because there isn't a vaccine or a therapeutic at that time. And the second thing is people that are worried, are they going to have a job next week, next month, next year? So why should they spend money when the fear factor is that they think they're going to lose everything? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Man, is that the other day that broke the amount of money that Mahomes is going to get. This contract could be upwards of $503 million. It's massive.
He could have gotten more money if he really wanted to. And it's interesting because Brett Veach, the Chiefs general manager, actually said it's kind of funny that we used the word unselfish when describing the highest contract in North American sports history. But that is exactly what this feels like, and it's why it feels like a win-win.
Yeah. So it's 12 years. So he's going to stay on his rookie contract. But by March next year, he has to have like $100 million delivered to him by March of next year, 103. How much essentially, because remember, it's football, and football's a weird thing. Football's a very weird thing where you'll see somebody sign for $250 million, but then you have the first thing you have to look at is what's the guaranteed money? Because not all of it's guaranteed. Could he make this? Yeah. Well, over time, will he make this much money? He'll probably make more than that. And when he comes due for another contract, it's going to be, he'll still have some juice in the tank. But it's huge. There's no doubt. It's massive amounts of dollars. Massive amounts of bucks. And I was like, damn, man, that's more than baseball, more than basketball. That's some huge money. Few soccer players get that kind of coin. I think Messi and Ronaldo are about it. I think Messi's getting ready he's in the middle of a contract battle right now. And who knows? I think he made $100 million last year. I don't know what his contract was. I think he made like $40 million just on his contract, euros. So I think he wants $1 million a week just from his salary. And just you see that over there, but they also get bonuses just for playing. Then you get a bonus if you start. Then you get a bonus if you win or a tie. It's crazy. It all adds up. Good money, though, if you can get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet and text at the program as well. Gabby, going to save you dollars. That's what the Chad Benson Show does. Common sense, kids, and saving you dollar bills, yo. How? Well, you take your homeowner's insurance and your car insurance. You link them up, and for the exact same coverage, they're going to give you an apples-to-apples comparison on what you should be paying. Maybe you're overpaying. Maybe you're paying the right amount. For me, paying the right amount for the same coverage that I've got on my home. On the other side of things, my car insurance went down by about $1,000 a year because I saw how much I was overpaying for the kind of coverage I've got. Do the same for you. GABI.com/Benson. 2 minutes, absolutely free, no obligation, not going to spam you, not going to robocall you, do none of that stuff. You won't be disappointed. Do it now. See how much you can save on homeowners and car insurance. Gabi.com/Benson. 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 Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this. This is the Chad Benson Show.
Will you read it? Won't you read it?
Simon & Schuster said it would release Mary Trump's book, Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, next week, 2 weeks ahead of its original publication date. An appellate court ruling freed the publisher from a temporary restraining order that is still in effect for Mary Trump. The president's brother tried to prevent the book's release because the family said it violated a non-disclosure agreement. But a spokesman for Mary Trump questioned why the family wants her muzzled. What is Donald Trump so afraid of?
Well, it's not just Donald Trump. I mean, she destroys the entire family big time. She comes after him and tears everything down about all kinds of stuff, including the relationship between Trump's pop, Fred, and Trump.
If Donald Trump is afforded a second term, his niece Mary wrote it would be the end of American democracy. Her 210-page memoir said the president's father served to encourage Donald's reckless hyperbole and unearned confidence that hid Donald's pathological weaknesses and insecurities. The book details the battle over the family estate and reveals Mary Trump as the source of information about her uncle's tax returns that showed Trump's businesses were losing money throughout the 1980s and 1990s.
That's not a shocker. My big thing with Trump and his taxes and his finances has always been this. He's not as rich as he says he is. He's not. He's had to beg, borrow, and steal. He's gotten himself extended and overly extended and doubly extended. He's lost a ton of money, and he's made a ton of money. He's still rich, way rich, but he's cash poor. He's got lots of properties, and if he had to sell everything, he'd be sitting pretty. But is there some cash poorness? Absolutely. Did he make some bad moves? Yeah. As did a lot of people in the 80s and 90s. When it comes to the housing market, the collapse, you go look at the casinos, all of those things that fail you. I think the reality with Trump, not as rich. It's not whether or not Russia, you're going to find out that he's not worth $3 billion. He may be worth $500 million. To him, that's a shot. That's a shot that you've taken at him, and that hits at the heart of it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program, Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's time to be open. It's time to stay open. We will put out the fires as they come up, but we have to open our schools. It's so important to open our schools. And what you said from a psychological standpoint with respect to staying home any longer, you can't do it. You can't do it. That has great dangers also. We're not closing. We'll never close. You'll have certain areas that will have difficulty, and they'll do what they have to do, and that'll be up largely to the governors.
Yeah, the governors, Trump talking about schools. Open, close, close, open. I don't think people really know what to do. Can kids get sick and die? Absolutely. Is it very rare? Very rare. Study out of Oxford and Cambridge, 2 schools that aren't online schools that anybody can go to, show that dying from this under the age of 15, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning. Flu's more deadly. Problem is, we don't have therapeutics. We don't have a vaccine. So it can spread. It can spread to teachers who could take it home to their family. How much do kids actually spread? That's another thing that's been debated and will continue to do so. But it's another domino that's falling in crushing our economy. We're talking about closing schools for the foreseeable future in some parts of the country, which is insane. Are there risks? Of course there's risks. Do I want any child to die? No. Who does? Nobody. You look around, though. If you're a parent, you're starting to ask yourself real questions about schools and what potentially could or could not be happening in the future and how that will affect your life and livelihood potentially as they try to figure out, are we going to go all online, which means you're going to have to stay home, or you're going to have to put your kids somewhere. Can't put them with grandma or grandpa. It's getting frustrating. A lot of people are frustrated.
When that starts to happen, they'll close schools down again. That will impact the economy. That will impact the funding for public school. It will be a vicious cycle.
Trump is already coming out and saying, well, fine, if you guys don't want to do this, then you're not going to get any money. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. No, we can't do that. But we've got to come up with a better idea. And I have looked around the world, and even the most cautious countries have sent their kids back to schools. And I just don't, I think if you can, like, I've got a 10-year-old. So my son, Jack, it has been a tough situation. Schools weren't prepared to go online unless they were schools that were already online. So that was the first struggle. They kind of threw everything out there and let the parents dangle. Some kids weren't set up in a situation. Jack is very fortunate. School is very, very much forward thinking. It's a very tough school. They have Saturday school. You don't have to, but it's highly encouraged. Like, that's the kind of thing. So he was set up in a way that a lot of other weren't. Like my little brothers, they weren't. They weren't set up at all for anything. Now they're talking about the kids going to school for a day, and then they're home for 4. I'm like, what, you can't catch it on a Thursday? So like, oh yeah, you guys know this? COVID takes Thursdays off. So we're cool to do anything we want on Thursdays. It's like, okay, that's stupid. Like, that's the ridiculousness of this. We're going to have staggered. You're going to go one day, off one day. But one day you go, it's 9 till noon. The next day, you're going to go from noon till 3. Stupid idea again. Teachers don't want to be playing this game of trying to protect. They're going to be playing, okay, how do I get this 10-year-old little boy to wear his mask, stay away from his friends, stay indoors all the time, because you can't go out and play, because they may get too close to one another. I've seen things like, we're going to put up these plexiglass partitions. And they show these things, and I'm like, what are they, in the penalty box? Like, they look like, somebody should show up in a, black and white outfit, like a referee from hockey, 2 minutes for slashing. It's ridiculous. Cases are rising. We're still a ways out. But the battle of sending kids back and forth to school is going to go on for the foreseeable future. And this is the other thing. Things that we do need to be talking about, which is also the psyche of the kids. They're struggling. Some are falling really, really far behind. You learn all this stuff over a year, then you get out of school and you retain like 5% of it because you're out having fun. Then you got to have a refresher to kick it back in. These kids are falling further and further behind. For Jack, it's been the COVID-19. He's not playing any sports. He's put on weight. He's frustrated. He's come out here with me for a month and a half, and he's dropped several pounds. He's swimming every day. He's having fun and stuff, but he knows he's got to go home. And, it's just him and his friends all day on the computer playing Fortnite, and there's not a lot he can do. And that gets into the kid's head. So there's a lot that goes into this. And you got to weigh the risk reward. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, what do we do then? Because I don't think you can have the start-stop when it comes to schools. That's just, you can't say, okay, today, you guys, we're going to go to school, and then 3 weeks from now, say, no, you're going to do it all from home for the foreseeable future. What? There's a lot that goes into this. But the plans I see rolled out seem to be haphazardly put together. And I say it all the time. You pick a path, and you stay on that path. But you write it in pencil, because you never write it in pen, just in case you have to change. But you should go wholeheartedly into it. And I think that the plans I hear for schools, and a lot of these stuff with COVID, is more hit and hope and Hail Mary than any kind of real commitment. And that's not a winning plan right there, a strategy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Again, numbers are going up. But what does that actually mean? Dr. Scott Atlas.
It doesn't really matter how many cases. It only matters who gets the cases, because we know the infection fatality rate for people under 70 is 0.04% on the latest analysis. That's less than or equal to seasonal flu. The cases themselves should not be, and were never the focus. It's only the tragic consequences of the cases. So when we look at these new cases in every state, the overwhelming majority are younger, healthier people.
Yeah, younger, healthier people. Now, today they come out, they're the task force, and they do what they do, which is they praise, what's going on, how the states are handling. There's some flare-ups, but the mortality rate, we're the best in the world. Are we?
President Trump and White House officials have repeatedly claimed this week that the U.S. has the lowest coronavirus mortality rate in the world, but that claim is false. The mortality rate is the number of deaths from COVID-19 relative to the overall population. And as of Tuesday, according to Johns Hopkins University, the U.S. had the 9th worst mortality rate in the world, 39.82 deaths per 100,000 people.
Now, you can look at it in two different ways. Is that true? Yeah. But if we've had 30 million cases, as the CDC has reported, we've dropped, and you look at the death rate, which is about, which would drop us to that level of just above the flu, the seasonal flu, then that might look different. There's many ways you can look at data. There's many ways. I don't know how many people have actually had it. Am I supposed to believe the CDC? Because they've changed their minds on numerous things. Am I supposed to believe the World Health Organization? Because they're just as useless. And the fact that we got out of there. So Biden, the first day that we get back, we're going to hire the WHO to play the big thing when I'm president of the United States. And yeah, you get what I'm saying. But they're just a shill for China. So but there's a lot of way to look at data. It's how you want to spin it. And that's what the media does. What is the media? I'm interested in, just give me the facts. I'm interested in the mortality rate, and I'm interested in how many people have died. If 1 billion people caught it, but nobody dies, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything. If 100,000 catch it and 50,000 die, we have an issue. But we haven't tested 1 billion. We haven't even tested, God knows how many people we've tested. I don't know how many people have actually had it. There's a lot that goes into it. And how much do you even trust any of that testing anymore? Once again, I don't know. It's just very frustrating. And as we look out and we project to the second half of the year, which has already been crazy, what do we have? Heading into the third quarter, which a lot of people thought would jumpstart us into a strong second half of the year, that doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Unemployment, while we look at it, we think, oh, okay, it's coming back a little bit. Well, if we have to re-shut things down, and that's a state-by-state thing, what is that going to do if Texas has to go back indoors again? If California, which is already going back indoors, doing everything to say that they're not back in phase 0. Arizona's the exact same. Our numbers are through the roof when you look at percentage-wise. And then you got Florida. If we have to re-shut everything down again, what's that look like? That's going to put a hurting back on the economy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTube. Have a new video up later on. All right, check this out. Raycons. Love my Raycons. Use my Raycons all the time. Jack had to get him his own pair. Everybody had to get a pair because everybody needs a pair. Because I was sick of everybody taking mine. And when you have to make phone calls, especially now, many people working out of the house, when you have to make phone calls, be on a video conference call, you don't want dangling wires, you don't want those little goofy stems, you don't want any of those things. You want something comfortable, stylish, and noise isolating. That's where the E25s from Raycons come in. Best yet. 6 hours, playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing. The noise isolating fit makes everything easy so you can make those phone calls, those video conference calls, all of the things that you need to do. And yes, even relax and listen to your favorite podcast, The Chad Benson Show. And guess what? That's what you hear. Normally you'd pay $200, $250. You're going to pay well under $100 for the Raycons. And I'm going to save you even more. You go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. You're going to save an extra 15%. Well under $100 and a 15% discount. Boom. That's a winner chicken dinner. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Mary Trump describes the president's father, Fred Trump, as a high-functioning sociopath who short-circuited Donald's ability to develop and experience the entire spectrum of human emotion. Ms. Trump, a trained psychologist, claims the president's father perverted his son's perception of the world and damaged his ability to live in it. Donald is not simply weak, she writes. His ego is a fragile thing that must be bolstered every moment because he knows deep down that he is nothing of what he claims to be.
Oh, my God. He sounds like a kid today, right? Don't we have to give a kid every trophy? And they're gold. How about that? Huh? Well, not really gold. New book. The book, I don't know if I'll read it. Like, how much do you believe and how much don't you believe? I'm sure some of it is absolutely true. And some of it is how she perceived it to be. It's not just her, it's not just him, but it's several other family members that have gone after her. It sounds like there's some bitterness there. But do I believe some of that to be? And here's something for all those out there wokeness who are always looking to find an excuse why somebody is the way that they are. Based on that, a lot of this would be Fred Trump's issue. So Fred Trump built him, designed him, like Rambo, right? God didn't make him, I did. I found him, I recruited him, I trained him. The great Richard Crenna. If you've never seen, it's like my favorite part of Rambo. Ryan Dennehy is in there. What in God's name would possess somebody to make a man like that? Or, you know, and he comes in. God didn't make him, I did. That's kind of it. Kind of what it is. Fred Trump surrounded him with people that build up his ego. And that's the way you live. As we were talking about this earlier. I'll go back to a little bit. We were talking about off the air. That Trump, whether you like him or not, you build up somebody's ego. And even if you do that, and they get into a position to do some things, they still have to do some things. Like, they've got to have some talent and some wherewithal. Even with the bluster and the BS. And by the way, everybody does it. Everybody blusters. Everybody. But when you get to a point where you have the opportunities, did you make the most of said opportunities? Not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people can say that. Your name, your position may get you into a place where you have an opportunity. But can you take that opportunity and run with it? And I think at times he did. I think at other times he failed, but so did a lot of other people. So did a lot of other people. It'll be interesting to see if this book comes out or doesn't come out. I have a feeling, much like everything else, it's going to be so leaked that at that point in time, what's the use of trying to stop it? What's the use of stopping something that everybody already knows is there? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. TikTok, will it stay? Will it go? If you don't know what it is, it's a media app that the kids love. They have fun on.
We are now evaluating each instance where we believe that U.S. citizens' data that they have on their phones or in their system or in their healthcare records, we want to make sure that the Chinese Communist Party doesn't have a way to easily access that.
And TikTok is an app, and it's the first Chinese app that has really exploded outside of China. And everybody loves it. But I have an issue with it. You know what? I opened up a TikTok account. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And then I was like, there's no reason to. It's just none. I've got enough. And China, there's a worry. Sorry. There's an absolute worry about what they were doing this. Now, TikTok claims, hey, we operate wholly separately from this group over here. Your data's here, there. I don't know if I buy that. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Raymond DeRosa and his family were having dinner at a restaurant in Carmel Valley when they say the man at the table behind them began ranting about Asians.
Suddenly I hear this loud voice, effing Asians.
The family began recording and it got heated.
You need to leave.
Asian piece of
Oh my God.
An employee demanding the man leave.
Get out now.
Who are these?
They are value guests.
That man is Michael Lofthouse, CEO of the tech company Solid 8. Lofthouse is apologizing, but the family says they believe he said what he meant.
Did he? Talked about stuff, told Trump's going to come get you. It's everybody's go-to. Oh, my Lord. I was trying to figure out what the hell they do. It's not the first time. Apparently he's done some stuff on social media. It's been racially charged. He immigrated to the U.S. in 2010. Graduated of the Newcastle Business School. Newcastle? Founded his own company in 2017. Don't know what they do. I like how they make it seem like he is, he's some big tech CEO of like these 4,000 people at work. I can't believe this. He's not happy. He's canceled. Now the question is, should be canceled forever? Because, of course, he's come out and done the obligatory apology. So sorry. But should he be canceled forever? Deshaun Jackson, football player, tweeted out some very anti-Semitic things. Very anti-Semitic. Hitler and the Jews and all of this stuff. Here's a guy, he's a big-time football player. A little bit more popular and well-known than him. And, of course, he has now come out and, you know, he Instagrammed it, didn't tweet. He IG'd it, as the kids would say. He igged it.
I've been getting a lot of backlash and, feedback from an Instagram post that I put on my Instagram story. I just want to, first off, extend an apology on the behalf of me and what I stand for, because, I'm one that's fair, and I never want to put any race down or any people down. And, my post was definitely not intended for anybody of any race to feel any type of way, especially the Jewish community.
He talked about Hitler. When you talk about Hitler, because the white Jews knows that Negroes are the real children of Israel. And to keep America's secrets, the Jews, right? So this is what he wrote. So to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort their pan to world domination Won't work if the Negroes know who they were. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know all this time that mistreating and discriminating and lynching children of Israel. When you talk about Hitler and the Jews in that way, come on. And this is the interesting side of things. You got a guy, Michael Lofthouse, who says some appalling things, and I don't think he's probably a good guy. And what he said, you don't come back and apologize. If you're in a heated argument with somebody, we've all done this, women, men, all of you, you're in a heated argument with your kids, your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, your brother. Sometimes you'll say stuff that's just ridiculous because it's about winning an argument, and your emotions completely take over. This Lofthouse guy, that wasn't any of that. He's in the restaurant and he just goes off, right? It wasn't like the table and him were battling it out and they were going to go to blows, and you say something horrific because at that moment in time, all you care about is winning. You don't care about the consequences. Plus, you're an idiot if you're really a tech CEO and you don't realize that everybody in the world's going to film you. Deshaun Jackson, is he going to lose his gig?
When I posted what I posted, I definitely didn't mean it to the extent that you guys took it. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm very apologetic. Probably shouldn't have never posted anything that Hitler did, because Hitler was a bad person, and I know that. And, I was just trying to uplift, African Americans and slavery and, just enlighten my people. So on behalf of myself, I just want to let you guys know I apologize.
Do you believe it? What's going to happen? What do the Eagles do?
The Eagles could explore whether the posts could lead to a default in his contract, and essentially whether they'd be able to get out of it without much ramification. But I don't feel like that's where we are right now. The conversations that Jackson has had today, suspension and termination has not been brought up.
It's interesting, right? It's like the way that some people pay a price and the way that other people don't pay a price. And I'm not a pay a price kind of person. I think there's some people out there, you just go, bad people, don't use their product, let them go and flounder over there. And some people do something stupid, make a mistake. But in this hypersensitive world that we live in, and it is very hypersensitive, we're in a position now where for some, it's about punishment, cancellation, and destruction. For others, no. He did something there that was very anti-Semitic. Nothing's going to come of it. Nothing will. If he was a white dude, maybe in a lot of trouble. Chad, being honest. If he was a super supporter of Trump, maybe in a lot of trouble. Not so much there. Not so much now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us and text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Dr. Ashish Jha.
I am very concerned, and I very much share Scott's take on this. Here's the bottom line. We're heading in the wrong direction as a country. We have cases going up, not just in those 4 hotspots, but when I look across the country, I see lots of other states going in the wrong direction. From Utah and Nevada to smaller states like Idaho, we're just seeing about 2 to thirds, maybe 3/4 of the country heading in the wrong direction.
Coronavirus. That's what he's talking about. Scott Gottlieb.
We're right back where we were at the peak of the epidemic during the New York outbreak. The difference now is that we really had one epicenter of spread when New York was going through its hardship. Now we really have 4 major epicenters of spread. Los Angeles, cities in Texas, cities in Florida, and Arizona.
Yeah, lots of spread. Numbers are up, but the death numbers aren't skyrocketing. Now, Dr. Scott Gottlieb and Ashish Jha think that that's going to change.
The case fatality rate is going down, although we're not able to measure it right now because we're able to save more people who are hospitalized and get critically ill because of advances in care. The number of deaths has gone down because the number of infections went down for a period of time, but the total number of deaths is going to start going up again.
I don't know if that's true. At the end of the day, Dr. Scott Atlas said it best. Stanford's a pretty smart guy. He's not an idiot. Neither are any of those guys. They see things a little bit differently. He looks at a much different data case than a lot of other people do because he wants to see a giant whole picture and not a singular picture that makes the narrative in the media and certain things fit a certain way. And at the end of the day, it's not how many, but who.
It doesn't really matter how many cases. It only matters who gets the cases. Because we know the infection fatality rate for people under 70 is 0.04% on the latest analysis. That's less than or equal to seasonal flu. The cases themselves should not be, and were never the focus. It's only the tragic consequences of the cases. So when we look at these new cases in every state, the overwhelming majority are younger, healthier people.
And that's a lot of what you're seeing. People partying, out there having fun, living their lives. Younger, healthier people who are throwing caution in the wind because they're in their 20s and early 30s and they believe they're invincible, as did most of us listening now or even talking on this said radio program. You kind of thought to yourself, I'll be fine. I'm okay. I'm fit. I'm going to be all right. Most people feel that way when they're younger. I know I would have been in the same position. And it's funny to watch people. I wouldn't have done that. You would have. You would have. Like, I have friends who tell me, oh, I would have been at home. Baloney. My God, I know you. You would not have. Like, you act like I don't. I know you. Because that's what you do when you're in your early 20s and 30s. Early 30s, not late 30s. So you're having the big spectrum of older people and very young people. It's bringing that average to about 36, 37. But when you have a lot of young people that are healthy and out there living their lives, they're going to get through this thing pretty much scot-free. There will be some that will get sick. There are going to be some people out there that have zero underlying conditions, that are in perfect health, but they will get sick. But there are also people every year that don't have any issues, and they die from the flu, and they've got a flu shot. And for whatever reason, nothing works. This is where we're at right now. It's not going anywhere. The economy is going to be struggling and on life support in some ways, especially certain parts of the country and certain industries through early part of next year. And then the rebound, hopefully by then, because we'll have therapeutics and we'll have a vaccine that we know works, is on the way. Hopefully by then, we'll start to get the confidence enough to get back out there and build again. But this is going to take a long time. This is going to take a very, very long time. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to be a situation where we're going to have, it's going to look like an EKG. It's going to go down. It's going to go up a little bit. It's going to go down a little bit. It's going to go up a little bit. It's going to go down a little bit. And then for a while, it's going to go, ooh. And we've got to be prepared for that. We do. And if we head back in, like many states are going to have to, as they doing everything they can to try to fit the puzzle pieces in without saying we're having to go back in. If we're going to do that, that's going to add another layer and months and potentially years on to a full recovery pre-coronavirus. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. Gold, yo. Silver, awesome. If you'd have thrown the same amount of money into the stock market and gold and silver, do you know what would have happened 20 years ago? And you look up today, guess what? Gold and silver outperformed stock market by 300%. Valor Gold Group. Who are they and what are they going to do? 50 years of experience in the precious metals industry. They're going to help you diversify your investments, protect you from stock market losses, and give you an immediate source of income when you need it. And it's not about just the protection. It's about building that nest egg, that wealth, that retirement. Call 800-202-6936. Get your free exclusive copy of the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence. It's about investment and not just protection. Gold is going to make a bigger run as the dollar gets weaker and weaker. What are you doing? Get off the sidelines. Get in the game. Call Valor today. 800-202-6936. Avoid the pitfalls of the coming crash of the dollar. 800-202-6936 or visit valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. VALOR goldgroup.com/Chad. valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
It's a huge contract. Patrick Mahomes has signed a massive contract, as we all know. But with that contract comes some personal responsibility in said contract. Now, he's got $144 or $47 million in actual injury guarantees, meaning no matter what happens, he's going to get X amount of dollars. Okay? So that's the way that goes. He's getting X amount of dollars regardless of what happens. He's going to get some cash. But, it's a big but. Some other stuff. He's very serious. He loves football. He realizes that. Many people think that, hey, you know what? This guy he's got financial certainty, but he could have got more had he waited. But he went early. He realizes who he is, what his responsibility is, what he means to that city, and that $500 million is massive.
It's never been about money to me. Obviously, it's awesome and it's an exciting time for me. But at the same time, I've always just been about being the best person, the best player that I can be every single day. And this is another step, I believe, another step in the journey that's just beginning. And I'm just excited that we have this done, and I have that security where I can go out there and be the same player that I was, and that same person that I was the day I stepped in this league.
Now, when you sign a contract, they tell you certain things you can't do. And those certain things are, well, he's pretty honest about it. He's like, look, I don't think I'm allowed to play baseball or basketball. Can't jet ski. I don't know all of them. I read a lot of them, but it's pretty much every physical activity you could possibly do, I can't do. So it's football and video games. He gets $477 million in guaranteed mechanisms. That's the new thing. If he goes this entire deal. But he has an opt-out at several points in the deal. Meaning, if certain parts of this isn't paid up, he doesn't meet some of these things that are out there, so he's got to meet some of these thresholds. If some of them aren't met and paid out at any given time during the deal, he can opt out. Or if he meets some of those things and they don't exercise those, he could say, all right, I'm done with you guys. I can go. When it expires, he'll be 36. It's pretty amazing. Some good money if you can get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Trump got a win today when it comes to the Supreme Court. Well, tomorrow, bring him a win at all. Well, today, celebrate what you got.
The Supreme Court has just ruled that the Trump administration can put limits on birth control coverage provided under Obamacare in a 7-2 opinion, upholding the Trump administration's rule exempting employers with moral or religious obligations from having to provide women with contraceptive service coverage in their health plans. The case centered on a challenge from the group Little Sisters of the Poor in Pennsylvania. It had challenged that requirement for birth control, citing religious objections. Again, the U.S. Supreme Court just ruling that the Trump administration can put limits on birth control coverage provided under Obamacare.
So that was a win there. It's been a mixed bag, and tomorrow will be the biggest for him because tomorrow they're set to rule on his financials. Said it, I'll continue to say it. I think at the end of the day, first of all, it doesn't matter. If you believe Trump, as nobody owns Trump, Trump owns everything, he's never done anything wrong, then you're not going to sway from that. If you believe that every day of his life he's done nothing but wrong and that Putin and them have something on him, then it doesn't matter because you're looking for the political side of it. I think the reality is Trump's overextended himself. His wealth isn't what he makes it out to be, but it's still better than all of us. Let's be real. That's what I believe, that it's more embarrassing for him. He'd rather be worth $3 billion than $500 million if the $500 million embarrasses him. And the $3 billion could get him removed. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Have a blessed rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.